water's just going to fill up down to the neck of the bottle, so it's
Why though? It's not like I already know, but I'm just trying to see what your response is.
the water's going to fill up back first,
Aye.
and then it's not going to follow the line.
So that's your reason for why the surface of the water's no bending?
You can't bend water either.
Exactly, that's the answer we're looking for. The challenge is, this is the point here, it's like a wee trick to get people engaged in the conversation. So
It's a tenner then.
you know beyond any shadow of a doubt the water doesn't bend, don't you? Right, so you agree with that? Doesn't matter if I make that a mile long, it's still not going to bend, is it? What if I made it 10 miles long? It's still not going to bend. 100 mile? No? Do you believe the world's a round ball? You don't? Good on you. You used to. What, you can't bend water?
Gravity,
What's that?
gravity comes back on the fucking land, I don't know.
What does gravity do to water that makes it bend?
It's a layer, I don't know. That's something, wasn't it?
Exactly.
Go
Can't bend water.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. You can't bend water. So it doesn't matter how fucking
Can't
big.
compress it either.
You can't compress it, exactly, bud. It's good to know when you meet people that have actually got a clue about the reality they're living in.
Just as well fucking Jackson.
You can't fucking do it with oil, so
Jack would
you
have
can't
fucking
do
done
it.
it either side.
Doesn't matter what liquid I put in there, it wouldn't bend, wouldn't it? No. All liquids. So they're telling us we live on a fucking globe because of pictures we're seeing on the telly. People believe it.
You're walking about teasing cunts with 100 quid, but
Just to get them in conversation. Yeah. I'll give you a quid. Buy a can of juice.
Thanks, fuck Jackson, here, my
Well, I am there.
Do you know, I think it's important if they're telling us lies about where we are?
I don't know about Fiji.
Everywhere you look, the horizon's taken for the word horizontal, straight level line. Everywhere you look, high, low, it's always that straight level line. Do you think it's important?
We don't believe all this shit.
What if there's more beyond what we know
I
about?
believe there's other points about it, and
But it's not up there. It's a grocer wig. They're hiding it face.
aliens and all that shit.
Okay, aliens here dressed as us.
Why else do you think they would be telling us it's a round ball if it's not? So that we think there's nowhere else to go.
No, we don't believe half the shit we hear on the news. We ain't watching news and stuff.
Good on you.
It's no fat.
if I wake up in the morning and I'm still alive and I live another day, fuck it.
No, that's it, mate. That's people's attitudes. But I think it's important, you know what I mean?
Here's one for you. We clean new builds, Barrett, for them. How come if nobody's got any money? Where are they working? Where are all these tens, hundreds of thousands of
Why is
guys
there
getting
no
jobs?
resources?
Where are they working?
If
What jobs are they doing?
government's giving you money, why the build no resources?
But they're young couples. We can't afford the deposit. Bank of mum and dad. Mum and dad are still. Where are these people coming from?
It's not, it's council and then all the fucking foreigners that get put in there.
No, it's no problem. That's fine shit. That's crap.
No, all the foreigners are getting put in the houses that they're taking out and taking them to brand new
No,
builds.
I'm not sure that. I'm talking about. I'm not
People
talking
off
about
Royce because they
500 flats for hundreds. All nationalities, every nationality. Doesn't matter what country comes from, that's all the shit as well. That's the news.
So you would all agree that the governments are corrupt to fuck with it?
100%.
Right. So where does that corruption end? When do we draw the line and say, oh well, they're no lying about that, but they're lying about that?
MPs.
I'm lying about it.
They're lying about everything, aren't they?
It's on the fucking Robinson.
So that they've got all us in this state of mind where guys like you, guys like us, we're having to run about to chase fucking money, doing slave jobs to fucking survive.
That's not right.
Brown with flues and all
Every
that.
country's the same, though, is it not? Every government corrupt.
Exactly.
Every country.
They've been talking about these fucking house lobs. I've had a clip of line soon.
I know. When we were scraping.
Only time you see that fucking
Duckish,
place
a duck
busy
one.
when it's a fucking debate on their wages.
Aye.
Oh, I can't get enough in the fucking
See the MPs all fund their expenses. See if we take one bottle of cleaning fluid, it's that. Look at the MPs,
£7 grand
£7,000
for a duck
house.
house for the island.
What'd they get?
Nothing. Helicopter.
Nothing.
But do you know, think it's just because people just accept it and then do it?
And we always will, because we're weak people.
That's shite, isn't it?
I'll lie down
At
on it.
what point are we going to come and say enough's enough and start up to it?
I will applaud that. I will applaud.
Ask him, mate.
I'll join in. See the day people stand up.
Answer. Jack,
See the day people stand up and
I've
say
got a
enough's
question
enough.
for you. Got a question for you.
Don't start politics. That's my boy.
No, not politics. The water one.
You up for it?
Yeah, what is it?
Offering £100.
Maybe it is.
Right. This is a challenge. All you have to do is sit the water level, right, and bend the bottle so that the line, see the line here?
Yeah.
So that it bends, and I want you to get the surface of the water to follow the line.
Impossible, Jack.
Try it. Watch, because there's a hole here. If you bend it too much, the water's going to come out.
Are you intelligent?
Ah, doesn't bend, Jack.
No, it doesn't.
You say that again?
It doesn't bend.
Water doesn't bend.
No.
So what if I scaled this up and made it
Oh,
bigger?
fuck.
Would it bend then?
No, it just moves.
Just moves. The
Yeah.
water will always collapse and the surface will always
Yeah,
be level.
yeah.
Doesn't matter how big I make it.
Yeah.
Do you believe you live on a round ball?
Yeah.
Why? I've just showed you it's impossible.
The world's flat.
That's interesting, isn't it? You're going to think about it? Good. Good on you. Guys, listen, appreciate it. I know it's like strangers coming up to you in the fucking street, but he's a decent lad. Decent.
Fucking 3 days before fucking Friday, I know, mate, know what I mean?
Line, and we're asking people to bend the blue line and get the surface of the water to follow the bended line.
Right?
Do you think it's possible? You really need to think about it? Why? It's not a trick question, just
It's not just going to always be.
level.
Aye.
Name it, that's your experience in it, 100% of the time. Bodies of water always level off, regardless of the scale. If I made that 100 times bigger, it's not going to change the physics of the liquid, is it? See that one fundamental fact that everybody can test and observe scientifically? It disproves the idea or the belief that you live on a round ball.
True.
Think about it. And then ask yourself why we don't have any real pictures for space. They're all cartoons. Now that I've said it to you, go and look. If you can find a real picture of the Earth or a real picture of satellites or anything real for space, you'll be a rich man. Alright, was filming you? Nice one. So for 100 quid, mate, this is a challenge, right? See the line that's level with the water? You can bend the bottle any way you like, bend the line. I need you to get the surface of the water to follow the bend, follow that level line. There's a hole here, so try not to squeeze the water out, right? Right, turn it back that way. Just bend it anyway, bend the line anywhere you like. You're not going to get the water to bend. Do you know why?
Why is that?
No, I'm asking you if you know why.
Sure.
You can't bend water, can you? Always finds its level. Do you agree with that? Would you say that's your everyday experience? Aye? Aye. Do you believe you live on a globe? Probably no.
Doesn't feel right.
Doesn't feel-
seems straight.
Always seems straight and level. It's filled with liquid, isn't it? Filled with water. Water can't bend. Do you think it's important? You're going to look into it? Definitely. Check it out, mate. Check it out. Alright, buddy? Well, would I give you the 100 quid if you could bend it, but...
Good shout.
Maniac! You done that deliberately.
I never done that. It was in my way, wasn't it?
Squeeze it again. You want to try again? Don't squeeze it so hard.
No, help me. That vodka that's in that.
No, that's just water.
It's crap.
Right, I know. Right, so you keep it there and you just bend it and bend the line and get the water to follow the line. Right, you're pulling it again.
How am I meant to do it then?
Why is it not working? What? It's pushing all the air. It's a bad deal. So what I'm going to ask you, right, do you think it's possible to get the water to
No.
bend?
Of course it's not.
Why?
Because water doesn't bend.
So exactly,
It goes
that's
in
your
your line.
everyday experience, isn't it? Water doesn't bend.
Yeah.
Why do you think the oceans bend?
That's to do with it.
Underground.
Aye. You want inside the bottle anyway?
You honestly think the oceans are bending?
No, the ocean isn't bending, but the ground's bending, isn't it? It's all sinking.
Do you think the world's a ball that's curves round? You think the world's a ball with big bending oceans in it?
It's a big gun.
Water doesn't bend.
I know it doesn't.
Right, so how can you
you've
be on
asked
a-
me to do that, so I started to.
So how can you be living on a globe then if you can't bend water?
I don't know what I'm living on, I don't know. I gave up what I'm living on.
you think it's important if they're telling us lies about where we live?
Of course it is.
So you're going to think about it.
Right, do
Can't
this
you-
again.
If you want, you can try to get blue in the face. You're desperate for £100.
Calm down.
Just don't scream, don't
Finish this
scream.
battle. I'm trying to get it there later. That's a very good one.
Right, listen, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Like, because you know water doesn't do that. So how can we be living on a bar telling us lies?
Aye, okay.
Check it out.
What you saying, is it flat? Aye.
Well, it's full of water.
Sorry, Jack.
Full off the edge.
It's full of water.
Full off the edge.
And I've emptied it over it
I
all.
know. I'll need to try and fill that back out again. It cost me £1 out of £100 here. Cheers for speaking to us. So the challenge is, my man, right? And it's really just to invoke the conversation. So, you know, when I ask you to do the challenge, if you can or you can't, I just want to know why you think it's not possible or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So the challenge is, can you see the level, the blue level line?
Yeah.
Can you see that the liquid is in a line with the blue surface?
Yeah.
The blue line?
Just about.
So I just want you to hold that. Now what I want you to do, right, is to bend this blue line and get the surface of the liquid to follow the blue line. Think it's possible?
Yeah, I've done physics.
Okay,
Just trying to work out how you would do it.
go for it then. So you were are you a physics student now, or you were a physics student?
I was a student, I really think that interesting. Right, fluid mechanics and all that.
Yeah.
Have to,
With fluid mechanics, nobody telling you that that's impossible.
a little bit, I'm thinking about it.
Just watch, because there's a hole here to let the air out, if, you know, when you're
right.
bending it, so there's...
Well, you wouldn't be asking people to do it if it wasn't possible, is what I'm thinking.
What, well, do you think I want to give him £100 away?
I just want to have conversations with people.
What, to be honest with you, what I'm going to say is that it isn't possible.
Is it?
It isn't
right,
possible.
Okay, well, thank you for not letting me try.
Well, no, you can still try if you like.
Aye.
What I'm trying to get out is a response of, you know, it isn't possible. Do you, I mean, you can agree or disagree.
No, yeah, I'm going to say it probably is definitely impossible.
What, and if I ask you why is it impossible, what would your response be? You don't have to give me the scientific, you know, just a real life
A real life
explanation.
explanation to it. I would say that if I were to bend it that way, the water's going to naturally go where the lowest point is.
And how would the surface react? How would the surface be?
The line,
The surface of the liquid.
oh, it wouldn't be straight. No, it would be straight, wouldn't it? Aye, it would always be straight. You
Always be
can't curve
straight.
water.
Can't curve it, can you?
Aye, you can.
Right, so that's a fundamental, would you accept that that's a fundamental fact of everybody's reality, that liquids can't bend?
Oh yeah, there's no one else in the world that could do it.
So nobody that could do it, even a magician with the best technology, could they make the water bend? I mean, you see what I mean? The liquid's always
Yeah.
what?
Well, maybe it is possible, but maybe not as possible as what you're trying. I couldn't do it on the street.
If I says to you that liquids can't support sheer stress, I mean, through your physics, did you ever hear that?
No, I didn't take it that far.
So the
to be
molecules
honest.
in the liquids can't bind together, they can't support themselves.
Aye.
So the surface of a body of water always levels off.
That's why it's fluid, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, we build canals based on these principles. We use it in construction for levelling. You know, we build dams and stuff like that because we know the surface of water is always flat level. So do you accept that then as your reality?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's not something to think about every day, but
So then if I then says to you, okay, that one fundamental fact, they say the Earth's 70% liquid.
here's 70% liquid.
No, the Earth.
Oh, the Earth.
The
alright,
Earth is
right,
70% liquid.
okay.
How can it possibly be a round ball?
Just know that it's a round ball though.
How?
How? Because it just every other planetary body in the universe is shown to be a round ball. Why would the Earth be different?
When we look through optics or we look at anything, we see in 2D.
You see it in a flat
We see
dimension,
2D,
yeah,
okay.
It looks flat.
So if I says to you, do you know anything about like logical fallacies or anything like that?
Heard the expression.
So a logical fallacy would be something that's got faulty reasoning to it. It's fallacious in your reasoning. So if I took you into a pool hall where you play pool or snooker, and I says to you, look, the pool balls are round, therefore the table must be round. Would you accept that?
No, you're right. I wouldn't accept that.
So if we're looking at the Earth, up there doesn't give us anything about the shape of the Earth. Would you agree or disagree?
Oh, fair, yeah, I mean,
And
it's to look at it, it's logical, but yeah, you're right, you would have to furtherly prove it. You can't say just based on evidence around the Earth must be right. You
Plus,
can't
you're
say
always
that.
seeing in 2D up there.
Aye.
You don't know that.
I don't know.
You've never been
It's
round the back of
yeah,
these things or seen them. So if I was to then just keep pushing, I hope you don't mind me asking me these. You know, if you want to believe that it's a globe, you know, you're entitled to believe that. But you know, I'm asking people, can you point me some sort of scientific, measurable proof that justifies your belief in it being a globe? Or do you know why you believe it's a globe?
Do you know what? I'll put it down to I think it's a globe because it's what I've been taught, but I also think there's so many arguments.
That's the realistic answer.
That's
Because that was the same as me. I was told that. I assumed it to be true. I found no reasons for me ever to question it because everybody said so. Until I went and actually looked at it and tried to prove to myself that it was a globe. And I couldn't.
It's a pretty difficult thing for one person to do. I mean, imagine not Christopher Columbus or anything like that.
But I can get in a ship and I can travel on a level ocean.
You can fly around the world.
Fly.
That's another thing. See,
But with flying around the world, if that's the central point and I start here and I fly around the world,
technically floating around it.
yeah, that doesn't mean that the step's round, does it?
No, it doesn't.
So you would have to have north to south, over the ice cap, right round under the other ice cap and round again. It's never been done.
No, you're right. That has
Never been done.
that'd be a pretty difficult trip to make. But one thing I would say about it is, see if there's so many. Like, I understand. I've watched videos on the flat Earth videos and stuff like that, and the reasons that people think that it might be true.
Yeah.
If it was true, I feel like there would be such a huge amount of people out there questioning it, but there's not. There are people questioning it. But
It's
not.
growing now.
It is. I've noticed it's growing. It's pretty.
Do you not think there's a reason for that though?
The information's more easily available.
Available and
Yeah.
people have never had the opportunity really to question it because I went to school the same as you and they just told me one narrative.
Aye, you
They
just
never
believe
gave
it.
me. The only other narrative I got was people years ago used to think it was flat, but they were cavemen, they were daft. So they were planting an image of ridicule in my mind to take me away from, you know, ever questioning it. Now, would you not think to be open-minded and scientific, you should be open to all possibilities without having to ridicule?
Oh, it's why I've watched videos on it and stuff, and it's interesting. It is, because I've watched videos on it sometimes I've seen. It's really mind-blowing how well thought out the arguments are, and you never expect it. Because I watched videos on it thinking, I can't believe people out there think the Earth's flat. You watch it and you're like, holy shit, that's actually not too bad, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a really well thought out argument.
No, I mean, at least you've had a wee look at it with a bit of an open mind and you see that it is a viable question to be asking.
It's still a long way off it being more towards it's flat than it is round. Though.
Yeah.
There's one thing that always, you can see the curvature of the Earth as well. That's
Really?
another thing. I've never seen it, don't quote me on it, but I've seen videos of it. Aye, up.
On a TV,
That's
I can watch Superman, I can watch people levitating and flying on a TV screen.
doesn't mean it's real.
Doesn't mean it's real. And the advancement of Hollywood, you know, graphics and technologies. I mean, look at some of the movies now where, you know, you've got people flying in outer space and going to Mars, and it looks
Films
real.
are getting pretty good
And
these days.
it looks
Yeah.
real, doesn't it? So do we suspend scientific everyday understanding of reality for what we see on a TV screen? Or do we go with what we experience in actual reality?
Yeah, you'd have to follow what the TV screen says to you.
So that's the only place I've ever seen a globe, is on a screen.
I suppose you're right, it's the only place I've ever seen it, but I just never questioned it because of that, because I wonder what would people gain to lie about it.
No, see, this is the thing. The motive right now for me is secondary. You know, it's like if I go to a crime scene, I don't first think, oh, I'm not going to investigate the crime scene because I need to find a motive. No, I investigate the crime scene and then it may lead me to a motive.
Yeah.
So, you know, just because we don't understand the motive right now doesn't negate the actual crime scene. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
You know? So sometimes people, just to try and reason their way out of it, they'll jump to these things. Oh, I don't know why they would lie, so therefore it's ridiculous. That's just not. I mean, you accept your government's lie to you.
Oh, definitely.
So where do you draw the line? Where do you say they're lying about that, but they're not lying about that?
You know, but sometimes you can think about it, like a lot of people seem to think the moon landing didn't happen because it bankrupted the Russians. I personally don't believe I was like, if you wanted to bankrupt and do it once, not so many goddamn times.
But what if you're building an industry based on this false premise?
You know, you could argue that as well, but I still choose to believe. I just hope that it's true, and I hope that it is.
I can understand
You don't
why.
want that to be a
You
lie.
don't want to be a lie because you've invested your
Yeah,
dreams.
it's affected how I think of humanity and stuff
Exactly,
like that.
you know. But you don't think it's really important if it is a lie
To know that it's a
to know? Would you rather have the truth than a comfortable lie?
I'd rather the game just said it was
Just said it.
happened.
But if you've got so much investment in business and other, subcontracts to different people, and you're making, NASA alone, they get $52 million a day per day. So they're right there, and then's a great incentive to keep a lie going.
I suppose, but they do other things. I mean, the whole moon landing thing, that's a massive conversation.
Yeah.
As someone said, like what you've been saying, if you weren't there, you don't know.
Well, to look back at the 1960s and to think that they achieved that, yet you'll hear them saying to this day, modern videos of actual NASA employees, we can't get beyond the Van Allen radiation
It's
belts.
the biggest stumbling
How did you get there in the
How did
60s?
you do it the first time?
First
I know.
time in the 60s, but you can't do it again since.
And then there was like only a couple of I can't remember which one it was, maybe Buzz Aldrin, he made a comment about going through the Van Allen radiation belt, and the other two didn't know what he was going on about.
They're all contradicting each other.
yeah, they're all
We can see
getting
stars, we
interviews.
can't see stars, it's pitch black, no, it's covered in light because it's just...
They clearly didn't have the same experience or read the same memo before the interview.
Oh, exactly. So I think there's enough in there to have reasonable suspicion
Aye.
that there's something not right with it. And again, if I just, regardless of an image, I trust my reality, I trust my senses, my ability to examine it. I look at liquid physics, understand how we apply it, how we know the behaviours of it, and it tells you beyond any shadow of doubt that you can't get to a certain point to start bending the body of water. It's impossible. So another line based on that one thing alone.
Well, I'll give you, it's a good example you've got there with what we've got. That's a good way to teach people about it.
Excellent. Hopefully you pursue it, mate, and keep thinking about it. I
Yeah,
know there's loads of people like you that have this investment of dreams and wish for outer space to be real and all this travel, and it's difficult to let go of that, especially if you're a generation of Star Wars and Star Trek and space fantasy films. Well, they're great and they're great as an art, but to try and attach that to reality, I think is dangerous,
I'd hate to be an astronaut. It looks like a stressful job.
Especially if you're on wires all day, being suspended about, kidding on you in
They
space.
come back down to Earth and the bones don't even work properly. You went,
So they say. So they say.
aye, so they say.
There's so much footage now of them, using chroma key and green screens and harnesses and wires, and these things have been released. They're there for you to see if you actually go and look at them. That will be telling you something's not right here.
I watched a brilliant video once. It was about what's it called, Hubble Space Telescope, right? And this guy phoned them up, and it was one of the things I would have thought you'd have left NASA alone with. You wouldn't be telling them that's fake.
Yeah.
And the guy phones them up and he's talking about the fact that all the specifications for Hubble are out there. It doesn't have rockets on it, so it's constantly falling back down towards the Earth due to the gravitational pull. NASA haven't reported it as doing that, and they say it's at the same altitude it always was. And the guy phones up the guy who's in charge of Hubble, his phone number's online. He starts having a conversation with the guy. It's a brilliant YouTube video about an hour long. He's just questioning him.
Is it Robert Bassano, by any chance? Was that the guy's name? Can you remember?
I can't remember. It was a friend that showed me it because I was like, surely Hubble's not fake. Why would they fake Hubble? And this guy can't answer any of the guy's questions.
Well, you ever seen the airliner that's got the open hatch at the back? That's pretty much Hubble.
They say it's the exact same type of telescope,
Yeah.
but it's on a plane, and Hubble doesn't actually exist.
Well, here's another thing, just because what they're telling you about space, is we live in a pressurised gaseous environment.
Yeah.
Would you accept that?
Aye.
They tell us that it gets thinner and thinner as it goes up, and then all of a sudden it becomes this vacuous outer space,
That's
empty
your
space.
space now.
We go back to physics again. First and foremost, in order for us to even create a gas pressure, we need a container. Like if you're on your bike and you have an inner tube in your tyre, if without the rubber, you couldn't put any air pressure in there. Would you agree?
Yeah.
If you remove the rubber, what happens to the air pressure in there?
No, it just all escapes.
Just escapes and equilibrates with the environment with the sun. So we go to physics, we know we need a container to create pressure. We go to physics again, how do we create a vacuum? same principle. You need a container. If we put the pressurised container and the vacuous container next to each other and we remove the containers, does that one side stay pressurised or do the two of them equilibrate with each other?
Equalise, individually.
But they're trying to tell you that it's different.
It's different because I would have thought it had something to do with the magnetic poles, the rotating magnetic core in the Earth as well, holding the atmosphere in, but I don't know too much about it.
No.
I really don't know.
But again, we can't demonstrate it, you couldn't recreate that for me. So it's no
Create a whole
science.
other planet.
But that's an excuse. That's like me saying to a religious person, prove God, or you're God, and them then saying to me, I can't because he's out with this reality. Well, how can I possibly even accept that then?
Aye.
But yet
Okay.
these religious science institutions are using the very same tactics. They're saying, like just as you said, oh, I can't because I need something in another place.
You need to explain it.
How,
in ways
how
you
do we
could
show
never
each other what's
explain.
real then? I can say to you, by the way, I'm in touch with unicorns with opposable thumbs that live in this other realm, but you know, I can't take it and show you it, and I can't recreate it in any way, shape or form because this reality, but that's pretty much what you've just said about the round earth. You can't demonstrate any of these things to me because
Well, no, the only way to demonstrate would be to go up there yourself and have a look at it. We're not there yet.
exactly. So you're having to put faith like a religion.
In science,
You have, but it's no sort of pseudoscience as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
It's the same principle. You put faith into it like any other religion, because people put faith in a religion with its high priests, like the same as these signs. Oh, we're the astronauts, and we go and we'll tell you, and here's our images, and people follow that and they believe it, although they've never experienced it for themselves. So it's a mirror of any other religion as far as I'm concerned. I think.
I see what you're saying there.
Aye.
Science does take it on faith, because I remember when you do physics in standard grade, and then you move up to do it as a higher later on in high school, you learn just about everything you learned in standard grade. It's what we call Newtonian physics,
Newtonian.
which is hundreds of years old. And you know,
That's
most of it's
reality.
wrong.
That's reality physics with substances like
Aye,
liquids
it's
and
much more basic than the calculated on bits of paper, working things out type of physics. You can actually see Newtonian physics.
exactly. That's the difference. But the globe Earth incorporates mathematics, which is a language, equations and descriptions.
It's not for everyone as well.
But you can't demonstrate it. You know, if I said, get me a round ball, show me water conforming to the outside of it, put it in a vacuum, get a pressurised environment around it, you can't recreate that. Why should I accept it?
It's a fair argument.
Exactly.
I bet God wouldn't get £100 for all that.
Well, I'm very sorry, but mate, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to yourself. It's always great to meet somebody who's willing to have conversation, you know.
Aye, no, I enjoyed it.
Hopefully you keep up pursuing,
I've got my open mind.
keep your open mind and keep questioning. Have a look at it when you get back home, or even if you've got your phone. Go to Google Images, go to NASA, look at their images. Now that I've said it to you,
You've given me a lot of
they're
questions
cartoons, they're no real photographs. Just look at them. Look at reality and then look at these pictures and you tell me if you think they're real.
now. You've given me a lot of questions, mate.
Excellent, buddy.
All good going.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Right.
Cheers. I'm going to roll a smoke.